Welcome back. This is Benner Knows Best, Washington Capitals Season Review 2 of 4. I am your host, Dan, and this is special guest Karen, always Ginger. How's the week been going so far, hon?
It's Friday, so it's better. But first, I have to thank you.
Oh, Lord.
Look, show and tell time. No hands! He does love me.
That's not the only thing she can do with no hands.
Hey, now, kid-friendly.
Nobody ever said it was kid-friendly here, okay?
I did.
Well, we're kid-free tonight, so letting everything fly.
No, we're not.
Okay, we won't.
So I've been bamboozled. I got a mic that holds itself in place, but I was under the impression that one had to at least think of a couple talking points in preparation for this really fun conversation that we are going to share with you all. Sorry in advance.
I have talking points.
The ones I emailed you are not your talking points.
It's possession's 9/10 of the law. They're technically mine.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, bambboozled. One of us came more prepared than the other. It's like we're back in college.
Well, hey, look, I ended up with you. All right, so, but before let's recap, let's start with the most recent events, which is just this previous game, actually. We just watched tonight, which shockingly, the Caps did not look playing very well at all through, I would say, 40 minutes of this game. The first period, they essentially, I would almost say, got the doors blown off of them. If it wasn't for Vitek Vanacek, who actually let in one goal and posted a 970 save percentage. So, and he's won 4 of his last 5 games. He's actually done not surprisingly well. He had a rough stretch in the middle of the season in February before we actually won 9 of our last 10. And then luckily we've had Samsonov come in and coming back from COVID, who is, even with the COVID absence, is 6-0-1. So they're actually doing pretty good in the goalie stretch so far.
I'm glad their stats are better than your memory, because that game literally just ended and you had to look at your phone.
Yeah, I had to look to confirm, okay? Sorry.
Okay.
You
It wasn't an impressive game, but we did pull it off. Well, we did not pull it off. I feel like 2 key players pulled that off, and that would be Vanacek and Ovechkin.
Yeah, Ovi didn't score from the office for once. Definitely scored right in front of the net. It's funny.
Neither was pretty.
No. I mean, those are what we call Mike Knuble goals. Nothing longer than a stick length away from the crease to score. Which it's kind of funny if you think, for a guy who has 720 goals, how many more goals he would have had in his career if he would have gone to the net sooner. Not that he ever didn't, but he just made he scored so many goals from his office that he just never, for a good part of his career, I would say almost until Trotz got here, never went to the front of the net.
Well, that's been a Caps problem for a long time, is they look for the pretty goals instead of just taking the goals that might exist.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why they brought in guys like Mike Knuble and like real gritty, like Joe Ward type players to do that. And
Joe Ward.
Yep. And but now Ovi, especially after he got hit, broke his stick. Looked like he may have gotten a little dinged up early in the game, cutting across to the middle. Alan May earlier even made a point to say that he shocked Ovechkin hasn't been drilled more in his career because Ovi cuts the middle so frequently. But he's also so big that sometimes he can usually take those hits. And today he got hit by Lindgren, snapped his stick in 2 pieces, got up, kind of skated back to the bench slowly, but it seemed like it more energized him and kind of pissed him off a little bit, which then in the third period got his 2 goals.
I missed that I was doing fun adult things.
Like taxes. Taxes suck.
They're not fun.
Thank you, government.
Hey, I'm grateful that we are able to pay taxes. I like List. They are my jam. I can tell you that this counterpart of mine likes Sports List a lot better than he likes the running household to-do list.
Nobody likes chores lists.
Hey, now. Nobody likes sticking to the floor either, though. So, there's that.
We have carpet down here. We can't stick to it.
You know what? But I, thanks to the Washington Capitals Instagram. Wait, before I go through this list, can we talk about the Washington Capitals Instagram?
You would like to get the number or contact information for whoever runs the Capitals Instagram?
I would like to send them a thank you note.
You should really thank me and then thank them.
No, you had 0 to do with that foam roller video.
Did you get the foam roller video?
I found it before you sent it.
Well, you didn't make a comment to me about it, so
I didn't need to. That was personal time.
That's disgusting. Don't need to hear about that at all. That was You know, sometimes you don't shouldn't ask. I shouldn't have asked. Yeah, that's my fault.
You said that this was a kid-free zone.
Oh, but we said we weren't letting it fly. Now we're
you
letting
opened
it fly.
the door. No, but jokes aside, the Caps PR team this year has gone above and beyond. Like, I think I'd rather look at the Caps Instagram feed than look for memes on the internet.
Are you talking about, like, besides the Nicholas Baxter, like the Tom Wilson one that we sent to Michelle, certain people when he was rolling out that thigh of his on his foam roller?
The pregame exercises and stretches are definitely a bonus, but even like the men in nice suits, I don't want to get the wording wrong. The hockey is greater than hate apparel that all the players were in at the start of that really great campaign that I hope continues.
They did come out with something recently against stop hate against the Asian community because
and a lot of the world.
Yes, but
as they should.
I just meant that they recently posted something on social media about it.
Yeah. If we could use our powers for kindness, rather than just anyway. I could fix the whole world if I could just talk to adults like I can talk to kindergartners. But no, they've done a really good job thinking outside of the box and making the fans feel like they're not missing out on as much as we truly are missing out on, because they're bringing us into a lot of things like the pregame handshakes, which go far above and beyond handshakes, and the post-game
Cup checks,
traditions, and the boarding the planes, and just all of those little details that keep the players alive and well in our hearts. And their photography is great. Their videographer is great. Somebody in that office has a great sense of humor, and it's been more than appreciated, at least in our household and amongst my girlfriends, I can say. And then there was the foam roller video. Just saying, if you haven't seen it, go find it.
So I got a question. Since you're speaking of the Cap social media and things like that and how it's interactive, have you noticed anything missing from a certain Capitals pregame ritual at all?
Oh my gosh, that is by far one of the saddest things on the internet.
So if for those of people who don't know what I'm talking about, and just kind of throwing up the softball pitch to her, is that TJ Oshie is missing a key element to his pregame rituals. Would you like to explain, or do you want me to explain what these rituals, this pregame routine is?
Well, you can explain what they are, but he's doing them by himself, and it is the saddest thing ever. I am 100% behind the Free Willy campaign. And I can get on a really, obnoxious soapbox about how I think it's unfair that Willie gets penalties and suspensions when other players do the exact same thing. You can find video footage. And they maybe get ejected from a game, and that's the end of it. But Oshie is finding a way to make it lighthearted and fun and heartbreaking all at the same time. There's the one in particular with the hockey stick fish hook that
He pretends to bite. He bites the blade of the stick and gets dragged like he's been fish hooked.
And then eventually falls to the ice. And he has been doing that pregame by himself. And it is the saddest thing ever.
Do you imagine what it's like to pretend to get hit in the ass with a hockey stick? Because that's what he does after that. Like, he gets up and then...
Yeah, I don't know. I know what it's like to try not to get hit in the ass with a hockey stick. But I don't know that I could pretend to get hit with one.
So, since we mentioned Wilson, we'll kind of transition to, when you mentioned the suspension. It's funny, Frank Saravalli on Twitter, he's like I would say like an NHL insider kind of person, and said that this is the first time ever someone has been suspended for a boarding call that was not from behind, technically. Now, within the rules of boarding, technically, yes, Wilson was. They said that there were aspects of that hit that they could see were not suspendable, but essentially kind of said he has a history, so we're gonna suspend him, because it was I would say defenseless player. You know what I mean?
But the alternative to that
and using
is...
and the fact that the boards were used, even though they called boarding, which is really hard to call when it's not from behind. But when you use the board as a weapon, essentially, I guess you can.
Okay, so forgive me because I've been coerced into learning hockey, but I am not an expert in all sports. The little foam, I think it's foam, rectangle thing at the end of an end zone in football.
The pylon.
Pylon. Okay. So say a football player
Yep.
trips over that,
Okay.
but there's a defenseman very close by.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the same as ejecting that defenseman because he has a history of hard hits.
So you're saying if the guy tripped over the foam roller instead of getting hit or while he was getting hit? I'm trying to understand.
Pick one.
Okay.
I mean-
Okay. Well, just
The boards are there. The boards don't move. The boards don't change. The player in front of the boards knows the boards are there. The defenseman knows the boards are there. I also know that I bet they're 1,000 times better at it than me, but I can skate in a straight line.
so skating's a loose term, but yes.
I can skate in a straight line. I cannot stop.
Ish.
I cannot turn.
Old Bambi knees.
Maybe. It looks a little like a drunk giraffe. But anyway, I can't imagine that even the best players can stop on a dime. Like, especially if you're allowed to hit someone, unless you're Wilson. And then you're supposed to, like, wave at them and throw glitter.
I don't know.
What is Wilson allowed to do to another player? That's what I want to know.
The only thing I don't
Kiss
know.
them?
The only thing he could have gotten away with if instead of doing what he did, which he technically hit the guy, which shoulder? Yeah, he hit him in this shoulder here technically, and then hit him here and then went through. So technically, this is the point of contact. But would be bear hug him instead of try to hit bear hugging him into the boards. I don't know.
So is that what he's supposed to do from now on? Bear hug players, stand them upright, like kiss them on the forehead and send them on their way? Like, is that
Probably pack him a lunch while they're at it. Yeah, it's probably about what you're supposed to do.
totally not fair?
But so with that though, the Capitals have shockingly, I would say,
Don't say it.
they already did it. His suspension's over. I would say his suspension is over. Have won 7 games. His whole suspension, he served his whole suspension, didn't appeal it, and actually went 7-0 during the suspension.
That's what I didn't want you to say.
Why?
Because you're not supposed to say that.
Well, they're good. No, it's when in the middle of a game you don't say anything but the zero. Hon, people talk about winning streaks all the time. They're gonna lose another game. They're not gonna win out the rest of the season.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be your fault.
It's not gonna be my fault.
Okay.
I bet you. I mean, if the next game is tomorrow, they will have Wilson back, most likely, and possibly Eller, which means Daniel Sprong might not play. But
That's okay, because I don't remember who that is.
he's new. That's why you don't remember him.
Okay.
He has 6 goals though.
That's nice.
Yeah, he's only played like 5 games,
That's even better. I'll try to remember his name.
and his name's Daniel. Maybe you'll remember it. It's easy for you to yell at him.
Probably why I don't.
But even through the COVID protocol, I'll say for some players that didn't have COVID, and then the COVID people that got COVID, and then suspensions, and then injuries to multiple players, the Capitals shockingly are still. I think they're tied now. They might.
I mean, we've had a lot against us, but we're also not the only team that's had a lot going against us this season. But I feel like we're holding our own pretty well.
Yeah, we're actually leading after this game tonight with a game in hand on the New York Islanders. We're actually up 2 points, 44 points to 42 points. What just saying is they dealt through a lot of adversity and they're actually starting to click finally. When I would say right before when we did our last review, they were kind of playing well, but then they kind of went into this kind of a downward spiral a little bit. So it was kind of shocking. Everybody was thinking they were the Titanic and taking on water. So,
Well, I mean, adversity kind of fosters improvement.
yeah, I mean, new coaching staff, no training camp, multiple of these injuries, especially to big key players. When you lose an Ovechkin, I think Backstrom has played every game. Shot. He left early one game. But Eller and company being out, I'm just shocked. And now Ovi once again has retaken that goal scoring list with these 6 goals in 5 games. Nicky still is the points leader though, which is getting his rightful due, I would say, after 14 years in Ovechkin's shadow.
Yeah.
But you have some lovely milestones.
I do. But before we talk about milestones, full disclosure, because I cannot sit still and it's going to be apparent. Yes, I have on pajama pants.
Nobody cares about your pajama
But they
pants.
have bright yellow flowers is the issue.
So you're pretty.
Yeah, that. But I have on a Weagle, even if my boobs eat it. Moving on promptly from that. So some highlights from the last time we talked. Nicholas Backstrom is at the top of the list, maybe because I made the list. He reached 250 career goals. Lars Eller, 300 career points. Justin Schultz, 500 career games. Coach Peter Laviolette, 650 career wins. Nicholas Backstrom, 700 career assists. Nick Jensen, 300 career games.
And he broke a goal streak up, broke a goal-less streak of 180 days.
Oh.
Yes.
Didn't know that one.
Yeah. Hadn't scored a goal in almost 2 years.
Wait, now I don't know who I said last.
Nick Jensen. Nick Jensen, that's why I said it.
John Carlson, 500 career points.
Carly.
You have to say this one because I never get his name right.
Yevgeny Kuznetsov.
Kuzi,
Why did you say
400
that?
career points.
Kuzi did.
Vanacek got his first career shutout. Ovechkin, and I had to update this tonight because he went and scored more goals, now has 720 career goals. He passed...
Phil Esposito.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness.
For 6th place?
Yes, Ovi holds is sole possession of 6 all-time. He didn't do it this game, he did it last game.
Yes, on the NHL's all-time goal list. For those who want to know, he is only 12 goals away from becoming the 5th all-time.
That would be passing Marcel Dion.
Sure. I'll take your word for it. Alex Ovechkin also reached 1,300 career points, making him the 35th player in NHL history. The Hockey is Greater Than Hate campaign. Captain. The
Dog.
Warrior Dog has departed for training camp. And sadly, he departed when we were still not playing well, so we weren't able to get him a win. But that's okay. And then this was a dinner highlight at our house, Judge, as you may. But the Caps goal song playlist has been updated.
Yeah, do you have a favorite? I wanted to ask you about this. I've been meaning to ask you about this because, like tonight, you were like, I don't know who that is.
Well, it was easy to remember the second time.
It was?
Yeah, because you just told me 3 minutes prior.
Is Nikki going to be your favorite?
Yeah, because it's Nicholas Backstrom's song.
What's the song then?
Neck Country Roads.
No.
That's somebody.
No, you're no longer allowed. Nicholas Backstrom doesn't want you to pull from anymore. He'd like you to find
no,
a new player.
he's here. I something on my singing is not my.
I didn't ask you to sing.
It's that song, Down the Only Road, something. That's his song. Tell me the name of the song.
It's Here I Go Again by Whitesnake.
Thank you, jerk.
Country Roads is DJ Oshie.
See, it was one of my 2 favorites.
It's all right. They actually screwed up the other night, and when Kuzi hit the post last game, and they started playing Get Low after TJ Oshie scored. And I was like, that is not his song.
Get Low is which one?
Kuznetsov.
He does.
Yes, he does the bird.
Okay.
The bird, Sally.
For his daughter.
Yes. It's funny. It's funny that everybody gets mad. Well, I would say other players get mad at him though, and I don't know.
Other players? Who are these other players?
I know the
Are they
teams.
Penguins?
Not
don't
just.
care what they think.
I wouldn't say just Penguins. Like there's certain players on the Islanders. Okay, so do you remember last year when Ovechkin? He had I think 4. It was one of his games where he had like 4 goals in a game or 3 goals, but he was against the Islanders, and they weren't playing necessarily great. And we were down like 3 goals or whatever. And Devon Tays, who was playing for the Islanders at the time, did the Kuzi celebration, mocking essentially Kuznetsov. And then Ovi went on like a tear and then like scored 3 goals, or finished with a hat trick.
You don't mock us. There are consequences.
Yeah, no, but it was funny that I think like a lot of people do it, especially like when they're about to beat us, if we're like, and they do the Kuzi celebration. But like I don't know if a lot of people realize that like he does it for his daughter, because when he doesn't do it, his daughter or she used to. I don't know if she does anymore, but his daughter used to cry when he
She used
wouldn't
to
do
be
it.
really upset after the game when he
If he didn't do it. Yeah.
There are some cute daughters in the Washington Capitals.
Well, you like Well, Nikki doesn't have any, but I know Oshi's got 2 little girls.
They are the cutest.
And then Ovi's back. We were gonna ask before if we had done this podcast earlier in the week whether or not you thought Ovi's wife and kids coming back would be a hindrance or help him. And apparently it has definitely not hurt him at all.
I thought it would help him get his spunk back because while he hasn't been playing poorly, he just hasn't had that oomph that's Ovechkin.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought we talked about this. It's funny we didn't talk about this during the last podcast, but like you didn't see any training videos at all, like before the season started. The last 2 seasons before that, like he wasn't always working out hard, but usually like right before camp started, you got like good, I would say like 2 to 3 weeks of like videos every other day of him and Pavel doing trainings or whatever. And he's not that he's not in good shape, but like he just didn't get that. So I don't know if he was he's finally gotten in shape, and then after the COVID break, it's taken him a little bit to get going. But I mean, he also had plenty of chances where he just was ringing posts, just barely missing goals that would have normally gone in weren't going in. So.
Well, I mean, you also have to keep in mind he tested positive for the antibodies, so I mean, we don't know if there were any lasting effects from.
Or when, but I mean, you don't know necessarily when he had it though, right?
No, but I mean, we're gonna find years from now that there's a lot of research about lasting effects, even for people that had minor or weren't even aware that they had it.
Well, they said Samsonov said, who we said earlier, he now has like a 0.908 save percentage. Excuse me, save percentage. Yeah, butchered that one. Yeah, way to be a podcast, so Stan.
But numbers are supposed to be your thing, not mine.
Yeah, but he had trouble breathing, and that's one of the reasons why it took him so long. He had like respiratory issues, like not just like regular ones, but like lasting respiratory issues that took him a lot longer to get over. And I know Kuzi said he had some. He didn't really go into like how, like he said he was scared though. It scared him, made him realize like how serious it was. But
who was the one that was like, "No, I'm Russian"?
Kuzi. He said it wasn't. Oh, no, he said he wasn't scared because he's Russian. It doesn't scare him, but he said that. It definitely, he understands the severity of it now after having it.
Yeah.
But
I thought that was funny. That stuck with me. No, I'm Russian.
So I meant to ask you this ahead of time, but
on the spot question, my favorite.
Yeah, sorry. Well, but I thought I mentioned this to you earlier but Henrik Lundqvist had the open heart surgery.
Yes.
And he has not been approved by doctors to play this season yet.
Nope.
The Capitals Brian McClellan did an interview, I would say like 2 weeks ago, and they asked him, like, if he can come back, are you going to bring him back? Because he's technically on the roster still, so they didn't cut him.
I thought he was on long-term IR, though.
You can come back for that.
Okay.
Technically, you can come back from that, but like you have to sit out a certain amount of games specifically if you're on it. I think he's definitely done that. But then
I didn't know if the condensed season messed that up.
No.
Okay.
No. But like he could sit out the whole season. And
Wait, we got lost. What was the question?
I wasn't done yet. So
now I need you to start over because I stopped paying attention.
So if Lundqvist is deemed healthy enough to come back
Okay.
by doctors, would you then bring him back in? For one. Because I heard rumblings that they might be looking for they're keeping an eye out for possible veteran goalies. I mean, they have one technically in Craig Anderson, but like nothing against Craig Anderson. I think Lundqvist is a little bit better of a goalie, but I can't see why unless Hank is like, hey, I just want to be with the team, bring me in. I don't have to play. But like Hank's a competitor, and like he wouldn't he's not going to openly come out and say I'm coming for your job. But I mean, they had brought him in to push Samson off. Like if you're not going to do it, then we'll have Lundqvist do it.
Right.
And now they have Vanacek. Looks like playing much better.
So wait, are you asking me a question?
Would you?
Or are you telling me a question
I was giving
that
you
someone else was asking?
No. They didn't ask him. But I was asking you, if you were the general manager, would you bring him in, or would you just say, let's for safety, you have a heart issue, and let's not mess up the chemistry of the team?
Are we still playing really well at this point?
I don't know if we're playing. I mean, we'll say we're on the pace we are right now. We'll say.
Then probably, maybe for playoffs. Maybe.
Okay. Because if it goes the way it normally goes, there's no salary cap in the playoffs. So technically, I guess you can bring him back then.
Yeah, I mean, heart is kind of important. You get basically one, and they're a little fragile.
Only a little?
Only a little. But they're kind of necessary, speaking in very broad, obvious terms. I mean, I think it depends because he's not like a young player, who still has a lot to prove
He's about 35
in
I
his
think, or something.
career.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it would depend on a number of things. It would depend on what his doctor said.
Mm-hmm.
It would depend on what he wanted. Like if he was like, I have been cleared, let me play. That's one scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if he's been cleared, but he's kind of on the fence,
Mm-hmm.
then I think I'd wait. But then the added complication of that is, did he agree to play more than one season with us?
No, just a 1-year contract.
Right. So, I mean, I think my conversation would be, can this be a 2-year contract, and can we see if you can play with us next year?
That could be a possibility. The expansion draft is coming up after this season's over, so we might lose a goalie possibly. I can't see us protecting both goalies. I mean, both our goalies are restricted free agents for one.
Don't talk to me about the expansion draft. It upsets me.
Well, I mean, they might take Oshie, they might not take Oshie. If they take Oshie,
What did I just say? What did I say to you?
I don't listen.
I'm not talking to you about that.
I just was saying.
Podcast be damned. We're not talking about that.
Okay.
Moving on.
Okay.
Back to goalies.
Okay. Okay. Well,
that don't have anything to do with the expansion draft.
Whatever then. Okay, then we'll transition. Miss touched a nerve there. A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get something to the business. We're staying on this one. The Capitals have now applied, or Ted Leonsis has applied to have fans come back. I think 3,000 fans. Thoughts on that move? I mean, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to go, we won't be going this year
No,
to any
you
games.
won't.
I can barely go outside to go skate.
That's accurate.
So I mean, I'm just asking your personal opinion. I'm asking you to stop data.
Well, see, this is hard because maybe I need to see a therapist. Probably I need to see a therapist. But I am having a really hard time knowing where my opinion falls on a lot of these return to real life pre-Twilight Zone situations. For instance, elementary schools near us opened this week for in-person learning. And while my little one is not in elementary school, our little one, I'll give him some credit.
I only own him on days that end in Y. So
yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, he is like fantastic dad. So I'll give him that credit. And so humble too. But when I went to drop Henry off on Monday, where he goes for the day, happens to be across from an elementary school. And so one part of my heart was like bursting with happiness, right? That the kids are getting some normalcy back and routine back, and, we'll have that in-person, touch and, things that, make elementary school what it is. But then a larger part of me was edging toward a panic attack because, statistically, I just don't know that we're there yet. Like, yes, people are getting vaccinated and that's great. And yes, we're getting closer, but we're just not there. And so for the people that are willing to take the risk and are able to take the risk, and the people that have already been vaccinated, great. But, from Saturdays at a winery to, sporting events in person to, just life, I'm kind of cringy about it still. Speaking of which, major milestone in our parent lives. It's not hockey yet, but it eventually will be. We did sign our little one up for T-ball, and COVID, conversation related. it was kind of heartbreaking that in that introductory conversation, one of the things that was brought up was we have a photographer who will do their pictures and you'll get like the baseball cards and, you know, whatnot. She's like, they know all the safety protocols and they're really good at Photoshop. And so they'll only take individual photos, but they'll Photoshop it into a team photo. And so while I'm grateful that that safety precaution is being taken and that I don't have to worry about, you know, them being all huddled together for a team photo, that's like a rite of passage that they're missing. And then I think about it further. There's a high school football player in our neighborhood who is very near and dear to my heart because he's amazing with my son. And there was discussion this week, and I don't know what the outcome was, but they were going to get to play an abridged season, and then because there's contact in football, they weren't going to let them play. And so you think of these athletes, especially these young athletes, that is their identity, right? That's their routine. That's their like that is who they are.
Yeah,
and so much of their self-esteem and, you know, everything is wrapped around in that. And we've passed the year mark, right? And that sat on my chest hard.
Longest 2 weeks ever.
That yeah.
Well, I have a cousin that's a wrestler. You can't do that.
Well, yes, that's very true. But this is being taken away from these kids, and understandably so. Please do not think that I'm like, oh, we should let them and just safety precautions to the wind. I do not feel that way at all. I'm like all the safety precautions all the time. Most of this pandemic, I have been the shrimp from Nemo. Anything that comes into my house, anyone that comes into my space is sanitized. But much to his dismay.
I'm forever unclean.
Although I will tell you that the IPA that we have stored near the door, I had a rare moment of relaxation this week, and I literally thought, I was like, this is the day that I go all the way to insanity. Like, I am hearing things.
Just that day?
I am losing my mind. The IPA was leaking, and we've got this cloth like caddy that we used when Henry was younger, and we had diapers and everything on each floor, which was highly convenient. Because running upstairs is one of my least favorite things. But it now holds Lysol wipes and hand sanitizer and gloves and Lord knows what else. But the IPA was leaking into that, and that's a very odd sound. And it took me about 45 minutes to figure out that's what it was. It was great.
At least it's all clean.
It is very clean. And so is the table, and so is everything else that was in that caddy. But what you got? You got stats pulled up.
Well, I was going to ask you, just to try to transition this back to hockey for a minute and get out of...
Sorry, rabbit hole.
You're fine. You're fine. I'd rather you just say how you feel, because I saw something on Twitter the other day that, before I go back to hockey, that was saying it was like the Caps are going to apply to have like 5% capacity or whatever. Like,
for the people that are willing to take the risk and the people that can safely do so, I think it'll be great.
It was like the person was saying, I'm not going to go and you shouldn't go either, blah, 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 blah. And I just was curious what your opinion was on it, because you and I both agreed that we won't be going. I mean, if the other people want to go, that's fine. You know, we're not going to hate the Capitals for it. I mean, obviously, the only thing I will say, though, is that those people that are working there will finally actually be able to work for the, monumental sports and everything. Will actually be able to, like, hopefully make some more money finally. Because
I hope that they are able to be vaccinated first, though.
Understandable. Okay. But back to stats, we'll say, because I have some stats pulled up.
Before you venture to that, I will say that, like, when restrictions were eased this summer, I know a lot of people that were like, okay, this is great. I'm all for this, like, easing into things. I'm not going to be one of the first. And that's kind of how I feel about it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, there's no harm in holding back and waiting.
No. Okay, stats. Your favorite thing.
It's not my favorite thing, okay? But, well, I was gonna say, do you think anybody's gonna catch Ovi? I mean, I don't, like, do you think Ovi's gonna take it away? Now that you think Ovi's back, he's gonna take all this, the goals away.
Anybody, you mean?
Nick, I mean, Nikki's close. Nikki's 12. Nikki's got 12. Ovi's got 14 now. Ron's got 10. and then everybody else
Did
is
a
in the single
pillow
digits.
explode somewhere in our house?
I don't know. That's what I was reaching at a second. That's why believe me, I wasn't reaching for the camera.
I didn't think you were. But
Okay, you saw the same thing I did. I'm not
I
going
did.
nuts.
Yeah.
The dog was down here. Who knows?
We have the two most like obnoxious pets in the world.
Back this way to stats, by the way.
Stats.
I said, do you think anybody's going to catch Ovi, or do you think Ovi's going to carry the goal lead for the rest of the season?
You mean on our team?
Yeah. I mean, Vrana's only 4 away, and Vrana's, surprisingly finally being more consistent. The snake is finally kind of...
Can you do me a favor?
Oh, my God, what?
Can you pull up a picture of Vrana? Because I can't place who that is.
Yes. I'll pull up a picture for you.
Thank you. No. And I don't think Backstrom would, even if he had the opportunity. I think he'd pass to Ovi.
You think he'd...
I do.
You do?
Truly. I was hoping that would help me. It did not. So I'm gonna go with no.
Okay, just say this. Do you remember the guy a couple years ago who was on the bench and he was like, "Hey, fist bump me," and nobody paid attention? He just went to himself.
Yes, I remember that.
That's him.
That's Vrana. No, I don't think he'll surpass Ovi.
No?
No.
Well, I mean, easy there,
There's
Chief.
a mic there. My hair is like, and it's unfortunate that I'm not more attractive in a hair clip because my hair is driving me insane.
It's a trap.
Maybe.
I ain't dumb.
No, I actually have a colleague. She and I have the same problem. We work more efficiently if our hair is like pulled away from our face. But then they have these conference calls where you have to have the camera on. And she and I, like the first 3 seconds of any conference call, are like ripping the bun out of our hair and trying to make it look not like it did when the camera came on.
Oh, I did not realize the Capitals are technically tied for the
Look, he's got more stats.
entire league right now in points. I just thought we were leading our division. Technically, we're tied with Tampa for the league lead in points.
Tampa got their win this year.
I mean, they got their second cup, but it went a long time between cups. It was like 7. Well, not as long as the Caps or some other teams who haven't won one ever.
Right, exactly. They got their win.
Why do you hate them so much?
I don't hate them. I actually kind of like them, but I like us better.
Well, that's good. I was going to ask you about the schedule. I mean, this schedule is going to be kind of nuts this month. Technically, they're undefeated in March.
Can we talk about the schedule?
Sure.
Can we talk about how frequently hockey happens?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was like, where are you going with this? And I was like, oh yes, now I know exactly where you're going with this. So, funny story. Okay. So, I get accused of being a hermit a lot. Okay. I like my basement. It keeps everybody out normally. So,
I'm in his basement. This is his basement.
yes, I know. So I was like, I'll be the bigger man for once in my life. Nobody called me that ever. And I'll go upstairs. I'll go upstairs and watch the game with
Did you bring
family.
a step stool?
Huh?
I love you.
No, I stood on somebody's shoulders. No, so I go upstairs and I'm like, Henry, I'm going to watch the Cats game with you. He goes, I want to watch Paw Patrol. I was like, let's watch the Cats game, Henry. And he goes, why do you want to watch the Cats game? I said, because it makes me happy. And he goes, but Paw Patrol makes me happy. It's like, damn it, kid. I'll go back downstairs.
I happened to still be on my computer in the office. And it was so funny because in this, like, I'm sure his hands were on his hips, toddler voice, he's like, why do you always want to watch the Capitals?
Because I don't watch cartoons anymore.
But I'm a mean, not necessarily supportive wife. And when I heard you say, it makes me happy, I was like, oh, whoa. It makes you happy when they're playing well.
No, I get enjoyment of watching it in general. I get extra excited when they win.
I will remember that the next time
I get
we
s-
play like absolute garbage and
get so-
forget what a goal
I
looks
get
like.
I get so excited. I wear these.
Really?
I wear these
Really?
when we win. Oh yeah, I wear them to work. Oh yeah.
You notice he had those right there, right?
What?
He's just been waiting for an opportunity.
Waiting for what? Me? Wait for an opportunity to put these sweet shades on? I would never.
You are not a 90s song. 80s song.
What? Huh?
Whatever decade that song was.
Is that the one you're thinking of?
Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to attempt to sing again because you were so kind and encouraging the last time I tried that.
Listen, we didn't sign up for X Factor, American Idol. Neither one of us. All right, we know what our limitations are. Believe me, and singing is out of that limit.
Okay. Can I just bring up a character flaw in the less than 5 minutes that we have left? There are two types of humans on the planet, okay? There are the humans who read all of the emails they receive as they come in, sort them, delete them, whatever them, and have an inbox.
Can we close my inbox now?
With unread emails or read emails. Like their inbox is very organized, tidy, and addressed. There are other humans who have 132 unread emails in their inbox at minimum at all times.
Don't look at my work email ever then. There's like 500 of those emails that haven't been checked.
You just lost your sunglasses privilege.
No, fine. Listen, okay? I just let it free flowing, all right?
How many of these 132 are emails that I have sent you that I thought might be useful reading?
I don't know. I didn't check.
I can reach his computer from here. This could get interesting.
Hey, guess what I can do?
Oh, darn you. He has the mouse. It's only so helpful if you don't have the mouse. Anyway.
Well, look, there's those of us that are free flowing, okay? And those of us, those assholes are so tight you can get diamonds out of, and that's you, okay?
It's called balance. That's what it's called. It's called balance. It's how our household functions because
Controlled chaos.
no.
You're the control and I'm the chaos.
Mm-hmm. Does that mean I'm boring?
You said it, I didn't.
I saw that TikTok recently and I was like, wait, but you call me crazy on a regular basis, so I'm confused which one I am in this scenario.
I like to keep you guessing.
Well.
But this has been great. I'm glad we actually played well. We weren't playing so well the last time we started. We did 1 of 4, and now that we're 2 of 4 in, I can't wait for the next one. I'll actually have more written points down. That way I don't get yelled at again.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to prepare any. I think I'm just going to wing it.
You don't do it as well as I do, so let's not try it.
I actually can't wing life. I don't know how.
Yeah. But
yeah, this was, we'll call it fun. And I'm really glad that they won because I was not looking forward to sitting this close to you if they had not.
See, I'm not pleasant to be around when they lose?
You said it, not me.
I resemble that. That's fine. Well, thanks for joining us. This is Bender Knows Best, also known as the BKB Podcast. This is Karen, always wife, super ginge. See you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.